Hey, welcome everyone to this new tutorial about networking in Unreal 4. And in this video I'm going to open up my to-do list. In this video we're going to build a server name and the fact that other players can get some information from the server before they actually enter them. So like what kind of map, what kind of mods and stuff like that. So we're going to delete the menu navigation that we just did in the previous video. I'm going to save that real quick. So I got our projects right where we ended last time. And what do we want to do now? So we want that when we create a server, we want a little pop-up to spawn. That pop-up asks the host what is going to be the name of your game, I suppose. So basically we're going to need a new window to focus on, or are we just going to make that thing appear just there? Well, I suppose we're going to make just a simple stuff here. So we want something with a text box, something that the user can type text on. Yep, like that. We want that in a box because we're going to add a button that allows us to actually start the game. So we want a button as well. Dragging up that button, add it to the box, dragging up the text, make the text fill, make the button auto-sized, but that button is pretty small. What's going on? Okay, I'm going to add a size box in which I'm going to put our button. I'm going to say that the size box is of size well 50, 100. Well, 100 looks fair. Heights override 100 looks fair. And I'm going to add a text to that. So that's going to be create, because that's going to be the stuff we use to create our session. So the user is going to type some text in that, but so that's called right now editable text box. We want that to be called server name text user text. We want to have a basic text in it to avoid blank names. So new map. I'm not inspired. Oh, that's pretty much not what I want. I'm sure of it. We're going to just try that one out. So can I use that? Yeah, I can. Maybe you can see. So I can select the text and type whatever I want. Bada 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 bada. We'll be able to get that as a variable. So I'm just going to increase the size of that text because I'm not able to see anything. Style, I want that to be greater, like that. And can I, well, we don't care. We pretty much don't care about that. Can I see what's going on? Yep, I can see what's going on, but I can't see the button at all. Yep, because I didn't set any anchor to that box. So we want to rename the box containing everything. We want that to be a variable. Just well, actually for now I don't care if it's a variable or not. I don't need to get that box. So that box is the server name, is the user server name box. And I want that to be fixed on the right of my screen, just like that. Well, not pretty much like that, but nearly like that. And want that to be above my little throbber that I didn't set up quite well because it doesn't disappear when we switch stuff. And I'm going to do that real quick. So I'm going to make that throbber disappear when we found a list of games, and also when, well, basically when we cancel. No, when we found the game. So search sessions. for loop, call to that controller, create session entry for each. Oh, excuse me, back on the game instance. For each session entry, so we're going to create a new event on our controller that is going to be called disable throbber, and that's basically going to get our menu, that's going to get toggle throbber. Well, actually not not that. We're going to create a new event, disable throbber here, that's going to be called activate throbber. That's going to say, hey, the throbber is the visibility is hidden. So when on that, we're going to call that event disable throbber, well, client disable throbber. So why am I doing that on client? So we're going to say, hey, that's run on client, because the game instance calls that. So since the game instance needs to specify that, since the game instance is on the server, if we're not calling that on client, that is going to be called on the instance of the controller that is existing on the server. So all the clients are not going to listen to that, and they're not going to disable their throbber. So that is going to be called disable throbber, like usual stuff, and the game instance needs to call that right when it ended. And we need to cast to the controller before we do the loop, or else we are not going to be able to do that. Well, I mean, we would have been able to do that, but we would have been casting every single time we loop in that array, and we don't want that. So disable throbber on completed, we want that to happen. And I'm not going to check if that works right now. We don't care. We will go back to where we were. So creating our text box. Sorry, we were there in our widget. So we got a text box. We want that to be hidden by default. We want that to be we want that. We will need two buttons actually. That's going to be a new window focus that is going to be create server focus that we're going to create right now. So in our enum, in the enum of the widget of the window focused, we want outgame focused window. Well, we want that. We want a new entry in there, and we want that to create game. And if we are focused on create game, that little window is going to be visible. So we want to create a binding. We want to get our owner. Well, actually, I'm just going to copy paste what we did for the other. I'm going to try that. Yep, I can copy paste outputs. That's pretty amazing. We want that. If we are focused on the create game window, that's going to be visible, else that's going to be hidden. Well, that doesn't copy paste the return value, so we need to take care when we copy paste stuff from one function to another. So that is going to appear when I click on host multiplayer. That's going to ask me what's the name of the server, and actually I need a new vertical box that is going to contain that is going to take all the line. So I want that. So what do I do here? Sorry, I created a vertical box. I'm going to size it to its content. No, actually I'm just going to size that how I want. So I get a vertical box. I put our server name usetext as a child of it in the first place position, and I'm putting the button right there. I will remove the size box because I don't want that anymore, and I copy paste that button to create a new button that says, hey, I want to cancel and to go back to my main menu, menu navigation, you know about that now. That text block, no, I don't want that text block to be a variable. I want that button to be called button cancel. Yep, we already have another button cancel, button in create game window cancel. Yep, that's pretty much it. I'm going to fill all the box, and with that button as well. That button is going to be called button create game, button create game. That's all. We add our binding sets on the box containing the widget, this widget. So we don't want the binding here anymore. We want to remove that binding. We want to say that's visible. And we want to take the vertical box that contains everything. And we want to say that's to bind that visibility on the username box. So that's we need to rename our function to understand what they do, because I did everything wrong in that. So get main menu box, I believe that's update main menu visibility, server entry box, update server box visibility, and our last one, I suppose that's the good one, the create game function, that's the one, update create game visibility. And we have proper name convention. We can go back to where we were. That vertical box is going to be called server name create game box. Server name use text. I can't get that text to be in the middle. Like it's ugly as hell. I don't understand. I can't do anything with that. Padding top. Oh well, that doesn't seem to do anything at all. And that padding top, oh yeah, that does quite well. I want more space there. Alright, that's going to do the trick. And I want the text to be a little larger. Alright, so we got that set up. We have a create game box that automatically says when it should appear, but we didn't set that. So on the out game controller, when we want to host a server, I'm going to put that just in the bottom. When we want to host a server, actually what do we want to do is we want the shrubber to say, hey, creating game. We want the menu focus to be create game. I'm going to save that. I'm going to close that. Server host game. So we don't want that just now. We want to host the game only when the player is going to hit the create button. So we want that to be an event. We also want that cancel to be a new event. And basically we already add a cancel button, and that new button is going to do pretty much the same thing, but not in the same order. So that is going to say, hey, remove server entries, and then it's going to say, hey, focus on the main menu. That's pretty much going to say the same thing. When we hit cancel, we go back to the main menu. And when we hit create game, we want what we were doing previously with the button multiplayer. So when we hit create game, we want to host. So if I hit the create button, that is going to host the game. So actually I changed that, but I'm not going to do this that way. So hosting game, that is going to be focused on the multiplayer window. That is going to ask for, actually that is going to teleport the hosts in a new level, since host game, if you remember well, host game teleports the host in a new window. So I suppose we don't need we don't need the throbber or to call a new window to appear. We just want to host a game. We just want to host a game at that moment. But when we're going to hit that multiplayer button, we want our owner to be now focused on the create game. We want the window focused. We want to set the window focus. And we want the window focus to be set on create game. And that's basically going to show that. Then the player is going to be able to change that value, that text value, is going to be able to hit create right off the bat, even if it doesn't change the text of that box. That box is called server name use text. So when we hit create game, we want to get the value inside that. So we are going to get our server name use text. We're going to get the text, get tooltip text, no, not quite that, get text. And actually, yep, sorry about that. Actually, we're going to need to pass that text value as a parameter all the way to the game instance. So the game instance can actually store the name of the server, and it can basically does that. Give the as an extra settings, give the name to the session. So we want the host to have, actually I think all I can do is do something like make literal, well, am I going to make that happen? Well, actually I'm just going to make that a string. So I'm going to get that string, and I'm going to do, no, I can't do that. Actually, I'm going to set that string. I'm going to pull that wire, and I'm going to pull that here. So that says, hey, I have a new parameter. So that's an easy way to create parameters, but that's not quite the name I want. I'm going to call that server name. I'm going to create a new parameter, server name. Excuse me, that is a string. Up, I'm in that host name stuff. I want a string that is server name. I'm going to save. So I'm going to get the text to pass it. I'm back on the HUD. So when I hit create game, that says, hey owner, host a game with the name inside that. Please host the game. Give that name as parameter we passed all the way to the game instance. And here, what do we want to do? We want to create an extra settings. I believe how, let me remember. Get extra settings. Make, no, not quite like that. Let me do public connections, private connections. Oh, if I remember well, I managed to join with the 4 clients to that session, whereas we specified that we only had 2 connection maximum. Well, I'm just going to pull that number to 5 and go back to that naming convention, add or modify stuff, new settings. Not quite sure. What can I do? Oh yeah, if I remember well, I believe we can add keys. We can add keys with a name. Okay, let me get back. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to check how that goes, and I'm going to tell you in the next part. See you soon. Okay, I'm back at it. Well, actually, guys, it was quite simple. I just went on the Advanced Sessions webpage on the Unreal forums, and I checked there, and we're actually just making an array and building up like a a key value. So we're going to do that real quick. Create advanced session, make array, and then make literal session property string. Yep, the key name is going to be server name, and the value of that stuff is going to be the server name we just passed. I'm going to save that. And actually, when we're searching for sessions, that's going to be quite easy and quite wonderful, I believe. When we're searching for sessions, we are creating session entry, and I'm back on the controller, I double click that function. When we are creating an entry, we want that entry. So easy, I can click that icon, going on the folder that is containing my widget, double click that, opening it, and I'm going to create, well, actually, we already get something like that in store, and I believe here all we can say is get key, get value, get string. Well, actually we can do that. So I'm just going to see how we can we get extra settings. We need to get extra settings. Get extra settings. We are going to get the first one. It's the first setting we created. So back on the game instance. Here we're creating an array with one setting, so that's the 0 of the array. So we're getting it. Get value, I believe, string, or do I just break that? No. How should I get that? Online advanced session info, make literal. Whoa, what? Make literal session search property. What can I do with that? Struct. Oh, what can I do? Find item. Oh, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. So back to that. Yep, I was doing some crazy stuff for no reason. Get property string. So we want that. We want the setting name. What was that? We call that server name. If it's found, we're going to set the text to the value we found. If it's not found off or the wrong type, we're going to say not valid. We're going to say server not valid. We're going to delete that, and I think it's going to work right away. If we did things well, the target of that is obviously our server name text. We're going to review the logic real quick. So I'm on the HUD. I'm clicking on host multiplayer. Host multiplayer is going to show create game. So is the create game box bind? Yes. Is it bind on the right thing? Yes. Visible hidden. This is shown. We can change the text. We can hit cancel. That can make us go back to the main menu. We can hit create game. That is telling the owner to host with the text in our box. Is hosting, the server is hosting with the good name passed as a parameter. The session is being created. We are adding the setting. When people are searching for a session, we're returning everything like we did before. But the widget itself is going to, the widget created is going to take the information we passed as a parameter and use that and show the server name properly. So I suppose we're going to try that out. So I'm closing everything, I'm hitting play. The server is asking to host, I'm not seeing my window. and I'm going to call that unions server. I'm going to hit create. Server created. Right, I'm on a new server. I'm going to browse online games. Is that going to work, guys? Oh, union server. Wonderful, wonderful. We're going to create another server just to make sure everything is right. Jimmy, hey, this is Jimmy. Jimmy server create. So we created a new server. We're going to cancel our search. We're going to perform a new search with both clients, with both players, actually, because they are server. And we have a union server and a Jimmy server. That's actually quite sexy, I believe. We're going to join. We're going to join. Whoop. Yep, that's what I told you when I talked about having multiple session. The editor doesn't like that at all. So hopefully it didn't crash. Hopefully. So I guess that's going to wrap up our video. That video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.